Hello everyone, my name is David Munoz. I am 26 years old. I'm a student at the University of Florida and I am also a small business owner. I would like to talk to you today about the differences between trying to launch a business as a person of color and an immigrant versus that of being a white person. Despite the fact that more than 40% of companies in the US Fortune 500 list were launched by immigrants or immigrants, there are actually many differences in regards to how easy it is to launch a business and get it off the ground. My first point would be that there are many differences from a very early age. As we have gone throughout this course, we know that institutional racism and structural racism are very ingrained into American society, thereby creating a difference in opportunities from a very young age, particularly in the educational sector. As we know, there's schools with minorities in bad neighborhoods often receive less funding, and this causes overall quality of education to be lower and does not prepare a child adequately to be able to be a leader of tomorrow and be able to run a successful business. This experience then carries on at the time when they're going through high school and ultimately college, which is where many people will receive the education in order to be able to successfully get loans, in order to run a startup, and in order to run even small businesses. This difference from an early age can also translate into a lack of framework and support. Families and having wealthy people in your family can have an actual very large difference in your experience growing up. I did not have any of those. In fact, I had to, like many other immigrants and people of color, I had to work from a very young, early age in order to provide and to be able to help contribute in my household. The second point I would like to make is the fact that the availability of small business loans and other types of loans are actually much lower for people of color than they are to a regular white person. Despite the fact that there are supposed to be laws which supposedly protect people of minorities, they do not typically apply to banks when it comes to taking risk and so forth. In fact, among firms with gross receipts under $500,000, loan denial rates for minority firms were about 3 times higher at 42% compared to those of non-minority owned firms, which were only resting at 16%. And many people of color have noticed that when they go in to ask for a small business loan, to ask for opportunity, they are often asked much more personal questions in terms of the status of their finances, and are actually disclosed less information about loan term limits and are offered less application help by loan officers in general. We are also less frequently handed business cards and are asked more questions about other facets of our life which may contribute to it, such as if we're married, have kids, etc. I personally experienced this when I was trying to get a small business loan for a truck for my other business, which is I work as a general handyman on the side to have extra. Not only do we face more discrimination at the time of going in to get a business loan, but there are also very little agencies which are willing to help us. In fact, the Minority Business Development Agency is one of the only federal agencies which aids minorities and disadvantaged people in order to help them get started in a small business loan. Not only that, but we're also, and I have experience in this personally, victims to structural institutionalized racism. I have had inspectors which have been condescending, to be the least, when I was trying to apply for permits and applying for licenses in order to operate our facility. In fact, my mother speaks with a tough accent, and they asked if she even spoke English and how she was going to do all this. And they were very hesitant on approving us and our business because of the color of our skin and our heritage. The third and final point I would like to make is that even once we get through all the hurdles of establishing a business, we are often discriminated against for whether it be for our success or lack thereof. Building a reputation as a person of color is obviously more difficult. There have been many studies which prove that one is more apt to trust people of their own race and the quality of their work over other races. And what's something interesting is that in 2015, Hispanic-owned businesses hit the 40 million mark nationally, which represents a 23% increase over the last official census release. And this presents a growth rate at 15 times the national average. But despite this, we're typically classified as DBEs, which are disadvantaged business entities, and other such buzzwords. In fact, some businesses go so far as to hide the face of their owners in order to get around the discrimination that might come from potential customers and as well as from government entities. I have myself been asked whether I was Arabic, Muslim, etc., what I was doing in America. And it's very unfortunate because I pride myself in being a good member of this community and employing other Americans. I pride myself in my quality of my work and contributing overall to this country, which I grew up in and I love. Thank you for listening, and I hope my story has been somewhat eye-opening to you, because it is being a business owner is something that not very many people venture into. But being an employee for the rest of my life was simply not something that was particularly acceptable to me. I wanted to venture out and try to do more. Thank you.